All right, welcome back to the Focus Podcast. And Dr.Keys and myself, we had a bit of a retake. So the computer just said, fuck nah. And we actually made a promo out of it by accident. But through the computer giving us an error, we got some promo out of it. So we're going to go from scratch. We're going to start over here. Episode 49. Welcome back, buddy.
Hey, it's great to be here.
We're good.
Finally.
I know. So we started talking about, we're going to do year in review. What transpired throughout the year. And last year we just mentioned that this is the anniversary of your album release.
It's been out.
Of Level Up. And before our switcher went berserk, we were featuring this Level Up. And you were saying to me about like this one came out, and then I was saying that this was the first one I did a recording on.
Yeah, so in a number of years.
I joined you on Love Bomb.
Since AM Grinding. Yeah,
and since the AM Grinding album, and it kind of got me out of my vocal shell, and back into the saddle, back into the studio, and man, thanks. So
the whole album took me a year to make. It's a big project. The thing I enjoyed about the process in which the album was being undertaken was the amount of time that I would spend away from the project. Where I'd just work intensely but not too intensely. I'd work, on like pretty consistent, allocate consistent blocks of time towards the recording process for a couple of weeks, and then whatever I got done is whatever I got done, and I'd just walk away, just kind of like hang back and let it sit. And those were the greatest experiences, because it shows how far along the project you've become, like how much it's manifested up to a certain point. It made feel like it motivated me to keep going and finish the record. But after that, I didn't really have any designs on being in the studio so soon. I didn't need to. It was just whenever I wanted to, I would just start working on something new. And this year was interesting because I was thinking about The Thing off of Level Up, as also like as one direction I'd been really thinking about taking my music into.
Progression.
Yeah, more keyboards, synthesizers. At the same time, why not play jazz music? It's something I grew up doing.
Where's the jazz in your
Where's the jazz
in your music?
Yeah.
Well, salute, man. Cheers to the completion of the Level Up. And I remember you saying when we were on the road that this, like, just going on the road and kind of, because you were almost done this album, was it true? And then we started doing a lot of stuff on the road, and you just kind of let it finish itself, really. You know what I mean? You kind of just like, oh, okay, I'll try these out on the road that you weren't really intending on, because then we got out there and we had a chance to do certain types of shows that weren't, they weren't crucial shows, It was like places where you could really, experiment, let loose. And then, did that come into a play into this album a bit?
It was great going out on the road while the album was being worked on.
That's what I meant. Yeah. Like massaging it on the road.
Yeah, there's a few of those instances. Galaxy, for example, was a good one where it made, like, once I started playing it live, it made sense to play it the way that it is.
Gotcha.
You know, funny enough, the debut performance of that in Sterling, Ontario.
I was gonna ask you where.
Yeah,
with our buddy
Jocelyn Burford. Yeah,
and that was a great spot.
It's available on Bandcamp. You can get it as a B-side to Galaxy, the album version.
Lovely.
Yeah, and a video for the song directed by Stefano Pucciano.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to go to elementary school with that guy.
That was a fun place at the Longtooth Brewing Company. Shout out to those guys. They were very kind to us. They were very hospitable.
Yeah,
extremely. And we did I remember the mixer was in rough shape, but it was nothing that we hadn't dealt with before.
Was that a 1610?
Yeah, but
the
everything
same one
was
they
like
used at Not My Dog.
Yeah, I think it was the same one that got passed on from Not My Dog. It was like, here, it's damaged. Keep going.
It made its way north.
Yeah. But they were great. They gave us beer. They fed us. They gave us free food. They gave us discounted beer. It was a cool concept because it was like a bunch of sheds in the middle of fucking nowhere, like storage. Shed, and they turned one into a venue, and they have like a little restaurant in there and their own brewery. It was awesome. Sterling, Ontario, the Longtooth Brewing Company. Those guys are awesome. Check them out. And they did live music. Yeah, so we did that. Was that the 1-2 punch weekend? We did the 13th. We were in Peterborough with the band and everybody. And then the next day, you and I hung out still, and we went with Jocelyn to Sterling the next day. I do remember that. Yeah, that was fun. Nice. Good times. Last year was fun. I enjoyed last year a lot because it was like we tried everything. We fucking went everywhere. We went all up the 401. We went all the way to fucking Ottawa and back, and Wakefield, and all the way to Windsor. We drove. We did it all, man. We touched every fucking...
That gig in Windsor was a nice one.
That was...
it's like the first... To me, it felt like the first tour stop of the entire year.
Yeah, that was like because that was such a distance. It was so far. But that was unexpectedly pleasant. Yeah. For myself, at least, I guess. Same. Yeah. Because a few things. There was... things change when you do something different on the road. Like, I think we talked about that. That's where I really took control of, like, money situation. Where you're listening to advice of, owners based off, like, what's best for them. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, no, I'm going to do it our way because this is our night.
Yeah.
And I remember specifically the guy was like, can you just, and this goes with a lot of places in Canada, and they want you to waive any door fee and then just let people come in and drink because they want to make money at the bar, which I understand. But then they don't give you dick. They don't give you like any percentage of anything. So he was going to do that. And saying, oh no, he was going to offer us a percentage. And then we were like, I don't know. It's a Friday night and it seems like it's a happening place, So you and I decided, we're like, let's just each watch the door.
Yeah.
Because I think it was another case where, I don't know if he said there was a door person and we got there and it wasn't available. It was something like that. But we were like, we'll take care of it.
Yeah.
And, we made money that
ultimately,
night.
Yeah.
I think we made like $300 that night because you watched the door because we did a long night.
Yeah.
We did like 4
sets. The full night.
Yeah.
And the thing I enjoyed about that, also that stop, was it taught me the value of honing, seeing what works, what doesn't, and just making sure
that's the
things are tight.
The infamous motel, that Windsor stop. We made fun. Probably
yeah.
the funniest sketch we had ever made, I think. We had this series. Check it out on YouTube. We had a series of sketches of our promotions for our shows, and it's just a reoccurring theme of delivering a message saying the show's not going to suck.
Yeah.
And we choreographed this sketch where you're in the room just like laying down, and I'm like on this mission to deliver a message, and I get to the door, and you open the door, and it's just like a fucking telegram, and you open it, and you just open it up, and it says Dr.Keys in focus at the Lion's Head Tavern in
Goderich.
In the Windsor one. Oh no, you're right. We were promoting for Goderich. We were in Windsor and promoting for Goderich the next night. So in Goderich, and it's just like turned it over. It's not gonna suck.
Like fucking 40 minutes.
It took 40 minutes. It was quick though.
It was great.
Lickety split.
I thought we were gonna do something different with that, but it ended up working like.
You know what that brought?
It actually ended up working better than my idea.
You know what that brought out with me, actually? That's how I used to do sketches with my buddy. Because it's fast. Like I'm too quick to edit sometimes. So I just like, what we used to do when we had no editing programs and I had a camera that had no rollback. So it was a high 8 tape. Mm-hmm. So we would think of a sketch and we would talk out the whole sketch like we did, Mm-hmm. Like this is shot 1, shot 2, shot 3, and this is like a wide. You go wide, walking down, cut to me at the door, da-da-da. So we talk it out, right? Like we did. So you shoot it in that sequence. Then you don't need to edit it and then each shot you kind of rehearse until you get it. So it's like it's like shooting without looking at the footage, and then the end product is just the sequence. So that's how we used to do it with a lot, and that's what kind of reminded me of it. But I was like, no, we need like another B-roll shot of you laying on the bed. Like, what?
What's fucking suck?
But it was brilliant. Anyways, we got sidetracked there. So you wrote the song in Windsor. Or no, you first performed it in Windsor.
No, I first performed it in Sterling.
Sorry.
Galaxy.
And Windsor, you were just saying like it was a nice spot to
the thing
hash it out.
Whatever. Like also determining what songs were more appropriate to play in the environment that I was playing in, which was by and large solo instrument.
Speaking of that, the next day we were in Goderich. Probably one of the memorable and funniest interruptions we've ever had, because it was pretty family. It was a family restaurant. It was like early. We did an early show.
Yeah.
It was like, was it 7 to 9?
I think it was,
I think it's 7 to 9. So you started.
Yeah.
And you played for an hour, and then I played for an hour, and then instantly into my set, I really disturbed some of the staff there. They were not happy of my content. And it was like we were in the corner, and there was like the waiting staff was coming out this area here, and I was getting this dirty eyeball from this one waitress that kept coming out. And then I don't know if she said to me first or to you.
I think she said it to me first.
She went up to you and she was like, "Can you turn it down?" Was it turn it down?
I don't know.
Or turn it off. It was like either
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I was like turn it off or turn it down.
Yeah.
And then I did not do either. Just proceeded.
Just keep going. That's all we can do.
Oh fuck, we kept going. And then it was hilarious though, because we trucked on through, and then at the end of the night we had our martini at the bar.
Yeah.
And we were talking with one of the waitresses, and she's like, "Yeah, don't mind her. She's a fucking crusty, So Wayne and I went back there, and we were gonna go with the whole band, remember? And
right.
I think Tim had to bail out, and then so I was like, let's do the whole band. It's like, I'll just bring Wayne up. So I just went up with Wayne, and they had no idea we were coming, the guys at the hotel. They had no rooms for us.
Oh, man.
And I was like...
That was this year.
Last year. October. A year ago. Yeah, at the end of last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, fuck. Well, you better get us a room or else we're going home and you have no entertainment for the night, you know?
Mm.
So he called the dude and then got the room and we played. And then at the end of the night, he came by and he was so pissed that we weren't there with the band. And it's like, well, I did what I could, you know? And
did you end up
rocked
using
out
backing tracks?
No, it was we did, and it was just Wayne, and we killed it. Well, Wayne, I got because we had like 4 hours, so Wayne did like 45 minutes, and then we had a break, and then we just kind of broke it down to like 3 40-minute sets, and then we had the place rocking, and it was rocking not really because it was us there, it was rocking because it was like that's the place, the only place on every Friday night.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, it was the weekend all the kids came home from college. So kids were just looking to get hammered. So it was packed and loud. Like, so we had it cranked.
So that's like that's a really the contrast between the two experiences that you
totally
had in
different. And then, but it was like, it was so packed, but nobody was paying attention to the music whatsoever. So nobody was even really applauding or anything like that. But there was this group of kids way at the back, like probably 6 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And they made their way to the front and they started singing like all the hooks back to me.
Cool.
Yeah, and it was good. So it was a good night. It was redemption. But yeah, let's get into that other track you put out. So right after that, you put out Looking at Humans.
Yes.
Oh no, we're gonna do this one.
I also worked on Tinfoil Cowboy Hat.
Yeah.
Which was I got into the country. I had some ideas to get more into that. An EP, and it really also got me liking to play guitar a little more.
When was this put out again? September? Was
October 4
October
of this year.
October 4th is when I put out the papers. 2020.
2020.
Yeah.
4-year delta.
Yeah. So this is sorry, how many tracks? Is just the one?
4.
4 tracks.
4 tracks.
And is there any videos with it, or?
There's one video and a lyric video. Track 1, Strong and Free. Track 2, Bars and Liars. Track 3, It All Goes in the Same Bin, was recently played on a podcast.
Oh,
and
nice.
At the time of this broadcast, Focused in the Bad Meat Band is coming in hot from a gig at the Emmett Ray. We're fresh off a gig at the Emmett Ray. And
we were smoking.
That day was when It All Goes in the Same Bin was played on the radio program.
No way.
Yeah. So
on the 11th.
My Spotify listenership went from about 26 monthly listeners to about 500.
Spike.
In 1 or 2 days.
You hit a spike.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully it stays on a few playlists and keeps rocking.
Yeah. Here's hoping. I think it's 22 1,000ths of a cent per stream.
You'll get like a quarter or something.
A quarter for, I don't know.
Yeah.
But internet radio's
the best money. Yeah.
It pays way more per play.
You get
there was one song
Spotify
that got played.
money.
One song from Felix's Belt that was played not too long ago, and it paid out like $5 for the one play, like $5.65.
Damn.
Yeah, stark contrast from the streaming royalties.
Is that from SoCan?
Yes.
Yeah, because I've gotten more money through, like, if I put some of my own songs on this and post it on YouTube. You get back end from YouTube, Spotify, and it's like a lot higher from you getting it from SoCan. And here's the other one we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about looking at humans.
Looking at humans. The synth.
Oh, let me change this. Watch, I'll change it on the fly for you. Ba-bam.
Ghetto. Looking at humans. I received a guitar for my birthday this year.
That's the greatest gift.
In kind, I felt nice to record it, get to know the instrument, because guitar is completely different breed of instrument. Even I'm speaking as a keyboard player, but there's no shortage of creativity when it comes to being mobile and having it lay flat
as a keyboard.
So I developed a type of harness that would lay it flat and make things easy.
Would that be almost kind of the same harness as a accordion, or no?
No,
totally different.
Not
a lot bigger because it has to go farther.
Not similar.
Yeah. Okay.
To an accordion harness.
Only similar that it's a harness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha.
You're like we're dealing with very broad strokes.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. Anyways. Yeah, I stretched. Far.
Yeah.
I stretched there.
Yeah.
No, we were saying earlier in take one that I really enjoy that song because it was like very introspective of the way we look at the world.
Yeah.
What did I say earlier? I said it was like kind of, I had this whole
aliens.
scenario like where you're in reality and you're not really in the reality. You're not thinking the same of being in that reality you're in. Like you're like, is this happening? And the example I gave was when I was on the TTC and that guy came and he like
punched his way onto the subway.
He went to like get on the subway and like throw a punch at me, and I just kind of matrixed it, and he just instantly went in the door and they closed, and the train went on its way, and I was like, did that just happen? Am I observing things? Am I looking at humans?
Is this guy looking at humans?
Is he looking at humans? Maybe it was like, that scene in Men in Black when the guy, that first character, he takes over his body, the alien. He's like, oh. Like, is he one of those guys that just, it's growing in me?
Man, you're all the deep cuts. I haven't seen Men in Black. I think I saw it in the theater.
I think I saw it in the theater.
That was the only time I'd seen it.
Me too. That was like 90s.
And then I think, did I see Men? No, I didn't see Men in Black 2 because it had a slightly different story and cast of characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Men in Black. What other obscure movies?
You know what I watched the other night? I gotta bring this up. This is the greatest. It's Christmas time too, and it's probably one of the best movies I've ever seen. I can't believe I'd never seen this before. It's a slasher movie. It's like Santa Claus slasher movie, and I watched it. I was gonna go to the theater to watch it, but I was going on the Monday anyways to see Christmas Story. Sunday, sorry. So I didn't want to go twice, Friday night and Sunday, right? But they were playing, I don't know if you've ever seen this. It's called Silent Night, Deadly Night.
I've heard of it.
Dude, you got to watch it. It's so bad that it's brilliant. But it's shot well, and the technique of shooting is brilliant. But The concept is so fucking ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. It's like almost like porno acting. It's so bad, the concept. It's like, so here's the basic of it. Like the kid is, it's almost like, you ever see The Leprechaun?
No.
That horror movie, it's really cheesy. Anyways, like that cheesiness. Anyways, so this kid is riding home with his parents, and there's this deranged Santa on the side of the road, and they go, well, you know, try to help him out, and this Santa like murders this kid's parents in front of him, so he's like traumatized from Santa from then on.
Yeah.
And then it just like he goes through this, the whole movie is like leading up to this whole fucking story of this backstory. It's almost like when they did Michael Myers, how he became
origin story.
Yeah, that Halloween. Michael Myers when he kid. But it's like all in one movie, right? So it's a great kind of like storyline, and it's almost near the end when he becomes the killer. So he's working at this department store, and the Santa Claus gets sick, and they ask him to be the Santa Claus. So he dresses up in the Santa Claus, and then he just all of a sudden becomes him, and so his memories of Christmas is like, he thinks that Santa just murders people. So he becomes this just kills everybody in the department store, and it goes haywire after that, and it's fucking brilliant. It's so bad, it's so good. And I saw an interview later with Quentin Tarantino, and he like praises it as like one of the greatest slasher movies ever. And not only a slasher movie, but it's a Christmas movie, right? And they're playing it at the Fox Theater on Friday, but I just decided to just watch it online. So good. So bad that it's so good.
Deadly Night.
Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Man, there's no shortage of Christmas.
Speaking of cheesy
Christmas content.
Speaking of cheesy, I was watching the Gremlins again, and there's a lot of like little gems in the Gremlins. I was watching all these other YouTube videos that these really, these cool gems that they're dropped in. Like the scene, when he's like, his dad's an inventor, so he goes to this inventors convention, and there's the shot of him at the payphone, and something goes by him, and it's Steven Spielberg in a time machine, and then it goes to the wife talking on the phone back home, and then it goes back to him, and this time machine is gone. So it's like something you don't notice watching the movie, but you watch it over again and you're like, oh shit, that's so blatant, Like these little nuggets that have been left in the movie. Anyways, the thing about the Gremlins was I don't know. Fuck I was talking about. There was something in it that I meant to say. Oh, because I was talking about Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Easter eggs.
Yeah, but it was just corny. There was something really corny in it that was... I can't even remember. Anyways, there's the obvious one. It's the same set as Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Too. But yeah, it was such a bad movie. It's so good that it's bad. Speaking of that, segue, you're telling me you're making a Christmas album.
I started work on a Christmas album in earnest. Yeah. The idea hatched last year.
Christmas.
Ivern.
Classic Christmas movie, by the way.
I just thought about making more Christmas music. I've been singing Christmas carols for over 2 decades, and it's been an awesome experience through and through. I may not have been the greatest to work with over the years, at a young age, I'd say, but...
Billy Bob Thornton, Bad Santa.
But this year especially has been awesome because it's really taught me the value of like keeping it tight. It's it may be a job, but it's the coolest job in the universe. You know, the ability to do what I enjoy doing, which is make music, and keep up the chops.
I really appreciate how good a lot of the old Christmas movies were. Like the old animation ones, the old
Rudolph.
stop motion, claymation, marionette type of ones. Like I watched the one Santa Claus is Coming, and just from a technical standpoint, I'm just fucking blown away. You get to be mind blowing how much work went into those things, like intricate sets, people working on each little component. Somebody's working on just the body movements of this marionette. Somebody's working on the background. Just like the level of creativity oozing from these type of productions is really mind blowing to sit back and watch them. Like almost 80 years later, like 70 years later, some of these masterful creations, and just on top of it, just unbelievable music, like orchestras and all this type of music. And it's funny, I had the Peanuts theme in my head the other night, like the Christmas one, with the kids caroling. And I'm like, where is that from? I knew, and
Christmas time is here.
And then I'm like, I just played it the other night. I was like, bang, there
That's
it is.
boss.
So I've been having nostalgic Christmas to myself the last couple of weeks of just kind of delving into all the stuff that I immersed as a kid in the 80s, that I soaked up watching all these awesome movies, these funny movies.
Nice.
Scrooge, we were watching, I was talking about Scrooge.
Yeah.
The one with Bill Murray, that's so fucking good. That one. There's a scene at the beginning, it's like a Jerry Bruckheimer type of movie where Santa Claus gets ambushed. And it's like a shoot off, and it's like Lee Majors shows up, the $6 million man, and he's like, I'm here to save Santa. It's like fucking Rambo shit. Fucking straight Die Hard, Fucking why not, man? 'Tis the season to fuck motherfuckers up.
Christmas time is here.
Yeah, man.
Excellent Christmas standard. Man, it's been nothing but Christmas for me, like since the middle of November. Just nonstop. I haven't had a day off in
Christmas is out already.
2 weeks.
You know what that reminds me? You enjoy it though, but what popped into my head is that, remember the episode in The Simpsons, it's Itchy and Scratchy Land, and Marge and Homer go to the New Year's place. And she's like, it must be great ringing in New Year's every day. And the guy's like, kill me. Lady, you don't know what it's like working this fucking. Oh, too funny. So, we were talking about the new kind of approach you took with looking at humans. With the synthesizer and the keytar, which is really cool. And a prequel, little nugget drop. Keys is on my new album coming out soon, and we did a lot of experimentation. And the keytar is featured on it, on one of the tracks.
Yes. One thing clear.
That one is a different one. But the other one I'm talking about is Saturn's Rings.
Saturn's Rings. Nice. It's great. It's great having that creative capacity and just, the big thing is for me is collaboration.
Yeah, man.
And when I put out Tinfoil Cowboy Hat, I felt like I wanted to bring people together, build a sense of community, commonality. And it was mainly a solo project, but it felt like it was kind of a step in that direction. So I think upcoming Christmas album is gonna incorporate a lot of that as well. You know?
And that's like we went out for a little stroll, and that's what I was saying to you. It's like that's such a sweet, locked in, loaded ammunition every year. You can just kind of like throw it out there again. You're like, I got a Christmas album.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
will I do it or not?
Christmas time. And no, it's great because it could be refreshing to people each year, you know. And it doesn't. That's the cool thing about having a Christmas album, is that it doesn't. It's not. Maybe what I'm trying to say is it's not viewed as a new album each time. So if you already put it out, it might be new to somebody.
Yeah, that's true.
In another Christmas, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, that's interesting. You know, I saw Dr.Keys live, and I didn't know he had a Christmas album.
Yeah. There was a Christmas singer.
I would love to make a Christmas rap, kind of like Run DMC. I really enjoyed the Run DMC one when I was a kid.
How would you start it?
Oh man, I don't know. I would do from my perspective of like an 80s kid, you know what I mean? Because here's the funny, it's weird. Like I grew up in a co-op housing, but we weren't that co-op housing poor, you know? Like, it was like regular 80s income, you know? Where people had a lot to spend on toys and stuff like that. And Christmases were good when I was young, but then, you know, when you get older and things change, and you know you have two families, two houses to go to, it's different. And
many houses.
And then it's different. It's
things change over years and decades. When I through the years, for me, it's always been like you gotta spend Christmas with your family somehow, you know. And then when I started singing Christmas carols, I was getting called for Christmas Eve gigs, Christmas Day gigs, and my parents were cool with that because we knew it was like a whole season, where we could just spend time together, you know, in the spirit of the season. Yeah.
Well, I've had almost 20 years of it's busy time of year for me. Like I have a short window, and I don't have as much time off as other people in the family around that time of year, so it's very short for me. And usually I do the traveling, and a lot of years it's kind of been, you know, it's exhausting for me in a certain way, but the last few years have been different because obviously, you know, we couldn't do certain things. And 2 years ago, I was here. When I first moved into here, was that brutal snowstorm. Remember that fucking really bad snowstorm, like the day before Christmas? It was so bad. Like, shut down.
Was that 2017?
No, it's like 2 years ago. It was so bad. And I just stayed home here because it was just, there was no point in going. I had a gig at the Eden Center, actually. And the guy who was supposed to direct and switch this, he couldn't make it. And they were going to cancel the show. Not cancel the show. They were just going to put up, you know, a logo. And it was all set up. It was like this. It was like an ATM Mini and all this type of stuff. So I went in and did the show for them. They were so happy that but I didn't go anywhere. So I just stayed in Toronto here. But, yeah, no, Christmas is important to me too, because it's like whatever it means to anybody, it's like it's just a reset kind of for me mentally, you know. And nice time to unwind. And now annually we're gonna do our, you know,
year in review.
So you want to get into this? Let's we'll start in January, and we'll talk about what we did in January. And
Yeah.
You can.
We started out in Junction City.
Yeah. Well, no, January I did. Did we do Junction?
Did we do Junction City in January or February?
February. So for me,
we carried it into the new year. It's not going to suck.
No, we did. Sorry, January we did. We started here. This is a shot from us the other night at
the Emmett Ray.
Emmett Ray. We started in January at the Emmett Ray, which was fucking awesome place. Shout out to the boys at the Emmett Ray.
Yeah, man.
And that was not my first gig. That was the first gig we did together. But my first gig in January was Wolf Island. I went back to the Wolf Island. And big shout outs to Chris and everybody at Wolf Island. What a fucking great place to go. We got to go there. We got to get you there.
Get on the island.
That's fucking great, man.
You get there from Kingston, right?
Yeah, you take the ferry across Kingston. I had great experience. I rented a car. It was January, like January 10th. Mm-hmm. Rented a car from here, drove there, took the ferry across. It was dead. It was like a blizzard too. So maybe, 10 people came out. They put me up there, so there's a hotel there, and Chris is just awesome, very hospitable, and they gave you food, and then I met these 2 artists from Ireland, and they were recording there. So there's not only you do your music there, you could also do a show there. You could stay there and record there if you like. And it's a beautiful island to just sit there and, record and escape. There's a lot of great musicians that live there.
Escape your destiny.
Yeah. So that was there in January. You didn't do any in January too. You're kind of low key, right?
January. I chilled out. I've been taking January off usually,
which most people do.
Because the past 2 years the Christmas carols have been
enough work.
Stop. Yeah. Like I could take the entirety of January.
So the only gig was this one with me. Oh! Look at this. It's half in. That was like a painting there, dude. That was like a Renaissance painting there. It got stuck like halfway. You're like in a painting.
Why don't we have that on
it only happens something
on my angle. Can you blend them?
Well, I did, but it froze.
Oh,
I can't.
Okay.
I can't command it to freeze. Fuck up. It only fucks up when it wants to. No, that was sweet. We started the year in January. Was that the night? No, I don't think it was that. I think it was because this is the 3rd time we played at Emmett Ray. But January was the second time. And I don't think it was wasn't that time that guy showed up with those 2 girls at the end of the night?
Yes.
And he was either, I don't want to say what sort of type of profession he was in, but he had 2 lovely ladies around his arm, and they loved us. They were all in. I think it was the time before, because the first time we played there was they were there, and then there was a whole group of guys in the back. There was like a bachelor party, but they stayed in the back.
Yes.
And then the last time we played, I think, was pretty dead. It was like barely anybody. Mm-hmm. And then this one, it was kind of scattered. There was a couple people.
This one was probably my favorite.
Me too. We crushed it. We fucking crushed it. So let's shout out the boys here. We got in the back on drums there. We got John McCann, who filled in like super last minute. Fucking flew in, and our buddy Tim he was under the weather, and Tim's been holding it down for 2 years, rocking the fucking drums for us. But Dan came in and absolutely murdered it. Like, I think he jammed with me a few times at Grossman's, and every time I jammed with him at Grossman's, we were fucking locked in. And you're good. Yeah. And then I think there was only like a couple that he wasn't sure of the style of it. I think Fear and maybe another one. It wasn't really what we were used to doing, but it was still good.
You got this on audio.
Yeah, the audio was amazing. Like there, you could see it right there on the desk, right there.
Oh, I see.
So I managed to turn it down enough, which is good, because usually it's blown out. So we got John there, and then beside her is our great buddy Marcus Walker. Looks like I'm punching him in the chin there. But shout out to our buddy Marcus, who has recovered from a heart attack, and it gave us a huge scare, man. Our buddy, our community friend, and
super talented musician.
Super talented. And I was talking with Marcus, and we were reminiscing about more than 10 years ago, and we were hanging outside of the Painted Lady, and he's like, oh, I got this residency at the Cadillac Lounge.
Yeah.
And he goes, we're doing full band and all this stuff. He goes, we want to do all your music with a full band. And I was like, fuck yeah. So he's like, okay, you're like a month from now. And then 2 weeks later, like, Cadillac finally sold. After like
so many
10 years of being on the fucking fence of selling and almost selling and close to selling, and but whatever. So finally, that's the first time Marcus got to play with me with my original stuff. So it's been a long time coming, and it was great. It was good. After he was part of the festival, which was great. Him and his band were phenomenal. The trio, just rocking it. And he had the white fucking outfit on, the Isley Brothers suit. He was prepared.
That was it was a fine performance.
He got the audience in, really.
Yeah.
With that. And
yeah.
Hopefully, we're gonna segue into that after in a bit. But we got first and forefront with the saxophone is Mr. Wayne Neon, the one and only. And that funny story we were talking about, Godrich Wayne accompanied me. I love him, but he's an old man, and sometimes he does old man things. Wayne's the best. Love you, Wayne. But we went up to Halliburton, and he forgot. He pulled a U. He forgot the power for the amps.
Oh, man.
For the PAs. There's like a little DA that goes through. So the power goes into the DA, and then you put the 1/4 inches out to the speakers.
Oh, okay.
Forgot that. And so I just walked outside, and I was just like, fuck! I was like, for one, fuck! And I was like, we have no show now. We're fucked. We're in Halliburton. It's like 3 hours north. And so I was like, fuck. I was staying at my uncle's place, and I was like, he's got to have something. So we go through their storage unit, and they had 2 speakers. Like, we ripped out all their merch, all their fucking crap, all this shit, fucking mess. Pull out these 2 PAs, but no power cords. So I call my uncle, and he's got lots of computers. So I was like, hey, can you bring 2 DC power cords? And he brought them, and we fucking just made it. But all the levels on the PA were just garbage. So the backing tracks were not good. And I was like, so we powered through it. We did it. We did 2 hours straight. And they were so nice. The people were so fabulous there at the Hook, Line, and Sinker in Halliburton. It was a great place. Anyways, let's get back on track.
When was this?
So this was July. So I jumped ahead by accident.
It's a year in review, and we're just going to different points.
Yeah, we're just
we
going.
We started we started last week, and then now it's like
went from July
to January.
January to July, man. So January, we were just kind of finishing off what we were talking about at the Emmett Ray. So we're talking about Wayne. That's how I got sidetracked. So Wayne is there. He's been playing with me for 8 years now. We've done a lot of shows, and when we were in Godrich, we were outside smoking a joint, and I was like, Wayne, how do you do this all these years? You got to be up in your late 60s. And he's like, I'm 75. And I was like, what? The fuck? No way. Like, how do you do it? He's like, weed and music. And I'm like, I'm on the right track. I got you. I got you, brother. And then behind me on the other side, we got Adrian our buddy Labar. Adrian Labar, who's fucking just rocking the bass, killer, holding us down. And then yourself on the keys there, on the piano, which is so nice to have. We've had that at there, and what's the one on Danforth we played? Sauce as the piano. And there was one other place we had. There was a piano. Transac?
Yes.
Transac Club has a piano. I think 3, maybe. Yeah, I can't recall another one. Mm-hmm. But out of frame on the far right is Brian Morgan. He was playing violin. And he rode the wheels till the strings came off. I don't know if you saw, but at the end he had all these strings dangling. I was like, man, you rode that till the fucking wheels came off, literally.
Yeah.
And we had 2 very enthusiastic young ladies at the show, and they were fucking losing their minds. And they were losing their minds to Brian's violin, and they were like mimicking him, like getting down. They were getting kind of close because Marcus had a solo, and they were kind of encroaching, and they stepped on Brian's
pedal board
effect pedals, and I was like, watch yourself. And then they started getting closer, and they were like about to step on Marcus's pedal, and I was like, that's enough. Yeah. And I was like, you're too close.
Yeah.
Now you're on the stage. We appreciate, the enthusiasm. We appreciate, you being here and being a fan and participating, but a little too much. You're too close. All right, so that was January. February was amazing because we did the Horseshoe.
Yes.
That was great. Oh, sorry. Interrupted you. The Underground. We did the
Junction
City Underground.
Yeah.
And that was a experiment. We had played there before. We played there, what was it? November 2022 as a full band. You guys played. Current Thing. Jordana and Bad Meat. So we had a triple bill, and that was great. And then we came back again, solo acts, yourself, me, and then
and Wayne was there too.
Wayne and myself, and so we had 2 acts basically.
Yeah.
And then we did something experimental, like my sister makes. She's a baker, so we did. Decorate your own cookies, which was, there wasn't many people, but it was a cool experiment to try, and probably something we'll do in the future. And it was just like people get cookies when they come in, and it was a good setting too, so they had good tables that everybody can kind of sit around, and there was all the sprinkles and icings that you could use to decorate your own cookies while you're listening to music. And I'm sure there's places like that, and people are doing things like that, and I think more of that is happening. Not just that, but like people doing pop-ups and other shit, doing shit while listening to music, as opposed to just hammering back alcohol, you know. And you and I have been talking about this for a while. And so we did that show, and then
The Horseshoe,
which was awesome, which was a lot of fun. That was like, I think that's the second time we played there as a band.
Yeah.
Twice.
Third time,
maybe.
yeah.
I think that's my 6th or 7th time there, but very lucky and appreciate it. The guys there, they finally gave us a Saturday night, so it was good. I had a couple friends came out, and they were troopers because we were the last slot or light, but that was fun. And then you and I took a road trip to you're wearing it, the chapeau.
Yeah.
Went to the mansion. Don't mention
it.
Yeah, give that a shout out. That cafe. They still doing that Thursdays?
I'm not sure if they're still doing it.
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to go up there in a while.
Yeah. I was invited to a birthday party, but I was working. It was it's a good link we got.
That was Druthers recently turned 4. And
shout out Druthers.
I like that camera angle.
We're not discriminating.
Well, yeah, just like cut to that more often. It's like boom. It's the room.
It's the Rogan one.
Welcome to
yeah,
Focus
it's like
Podcast.
got the widescreen too.
Yeah. Left side.
We fucked up. February. So yeah, that was fun. We were locked in, man. That was so locked in, that set at the Horseshoe. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then you and I did one more, and then that was it for me pretty much for the year.
Mm-hmm.
We went to our buddies again in Trenton.
The Cardinal.
Yep. So we went to Druthers Mansion. We stayed overnight. They're so nice to us. And we did like a little performance in their cafe in their basement, and they had us up there. So we spent the night, and then we just kept going on east and went to Trenton and did the Cardinal. Shout out to those guys. Super nice people there. Great young kids running a cool type of inclusive space, comedy, whatever comes to mind.
A lot of music.
A lot of music, yeah. And it's great because it's a small town and they need it. And places like that will thrive and do well because it's like they know. I was here with Brian last week, and we were talking about that, like the surge of people that lived in Toronto that could run a bar or like run a open mic night or run music nights, just popping up in little towns all over Ontario, and making a scene, starting a scene.
Mm-hmm.
We saw it going through Southern Ontario too, but it's happening a lot, so that for me, that was it. That was it. I stopped doing live shows until July, really. So what about you? You were doing a bit, and once the spring got going.
Yeah, there were a few things here and there.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't actively looking to do live shows.
Yeah, you're winding down, kind of like myself. Yeah, we had a good run. Like, it was a fucking year and a half.
Yeah,
we were rocking.
It's just saved all of my energy for the community focused music festival that took place in August.
Was awesome. So a lot led up to this. This was a year in the making, really. And it started with you, actually, buddy. That's what we forgot. I can't believe we forgot that. At the fucking am I drawing a blank here? The place on Kingston Road here. The
Pilot. Porch Light.
Porch Light. Shout out to Porch Light. We did a live stream. So it was part of this. Let's get into this. All right, we're gonna talk about the community focused thing that Dr. Keys is a big part of. So, a year ago, in October, partnered up with Bud's Coffee here in the Beaches. Shout out to Ken, who's like real open-minded about music and art in the community in the Beaches here in Toronto. And we came up with this concept of kind of spotlighting indie music in Toronto and kind of giving a platform to indie music through small businesses in Toronto. And so this coffee shop was the starting point. And then we got hooked up with a friend of ours in Spirit Leaf store in the Beaches. And he was into it too. So the three of us teamed up and we decided we were going to showcase solo music. And Ken, who also owns a place, Porch Light, up on Kingston Road, suggested we can use that as a facility. So I had the idea of showcasing indie artists like yourself and start a series and do it live, like a live stream. And then we were going to start like kind of like a showcasing thing of indie artists on a monthly basis. So we did it December. It was it's a what year anniversaries of a few shit. It was exactly like December 4th, I think. So pretty close to
We did the live stream with
Dame Alexander, yeah. So he came by and did a double bill with yourself, and that was fun. So I had some good help with that. We did a live stream from the Porch Light, and that's what started this community focused thing a year ago. And it was fun. Live stream. And then I forgot. Prior to that, I did a live performance at the weed store that we were sponsored with, Spirit Leaf. And that was interesting because people were just like coming in to buy weed and looking at me and like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, I didn't sign up for this shit, And so, yeah, that was interesting. And then so after that was the performance with you and Dame, which went pretty well. And then the month after that we had E.M. Lord and Sabri. And then the month after that, we moved it to the coffee shop down here on Queen. And it was myself, and there was actually a barista there who was our first performance. We did like a night there. Mm-hmm. And then I kind of lost momentum because it was just, I had my sights set on the next stage of it, right?
Yeah.
And then we were both thinking, Ken and I were both thinking like, well, it's not really working in a coffee shop because it's not really a setting. There's no spot to really set a stage or play music. It's cumbersome, it's like it's not feeling right? So I didn't want to pressure it anymore, right? So I kind of let go of it in March. And that's when I stopped kind of doing live shows anyways, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
I remember it being cold that night.
Yeah. In the February?
Yeah.
Oh, when you did your performance?
No, when I
Oh, you came by in February. Oh, yeah, it was in the middle of February. It was fucking freezing. Yeah, it was probably like minus 20. It's like, no, I'm not coming out to see a fucking show.
Yeah.
Anyways, which led to me finally getting this this festival, and it was just kind of, I applied for it with Roger, who makes a lot of the music with me. He helped me write it, and we got it. We got like the fucking application, and it was in the end of June, and I had applied for August 3rd for this festival. And I was like, shit, I better get my fucking shit together and fucking put this together, yo. So I got, if you can see at the bottom of the screen, we got 5 sponsors. Starting, I think the left is the print company. Mm-hmm. They're the guys that did this flyer for us. They did a whole banner for us, and they did the flyers. So they're very generous. They give me 50% off the flyers and 40% off the banner. So they're very community oriented. When I came to them with the idea, they were super stoked. So hopefully we can stay, partners with them moving forward. And then Buds, they were super cool. They gave all of us free coffee for the whole day and the whole event. Anybody could just, that was on the crew, that with these cards, we could just go there and get free coffee for any of the talent or the crew. And then we have, Lemon, which, shout out to John, awesome dude, like our age, totally cool young guy running Lemon restaurant in the Beaches, which is probably the best restaurant in the Beaches. And he was all for it. First time I told him the idea, he's like, yeah, man, anything I can do, I'm down. Help it. So he gave us a sponsorship. He gave us sponsorship money and a couple gift cards, and then we have the other one. I can't remember is. Oh, and the other one is Fox Theater. Oh, sorry, Long and McQuaid. My bad. Long and McQuaid Beaches, Danforth. They gave us like 30% off the gear. So we had all the PA, the speakers, all the cables, everything. The board, everything was provided by our good friends at Long McQuaid. And then Fox Theater, shout out to Fox Theater. We were talking about the Fox Theater earlier. They gave us free advertising for a month. So before all the movies, this flyer came up.
Nice.
Through their rotation. So this was our lineup through the night. And here, I've been talking a lot. Why don't you walk us through this? I'll switch this here.
Aaron D'Souza.
So he started the day.
Yeah, that was a really good set.
Mm-hmm.
I describe it as feel-good music.
Yeah. Aaron's awesome. Aaron's like old school, old G. I remember him from our Painted Lady days way back, like probably almost going 10 years now.
Yeah.
So he was like one of the first ones that were in that group that we went on a regular basis. And I was in contact with him, and I just like, I want a good variety of styles of music here. And I'm like, he's good at uplifting people, with his style of music. And I just always like the way he presents himself as a professional musician, and just like kind of, you can't not smile when you see him perform and listen to him. And he had a great performance, and he had to do a 180 for us, because originally we had a performer, Random Acts of Violence, that I couldn't find. Random Acts of Violence is a street performer in the Beaches, and I had talked to him earlier about performing, but I couldn't find him. So I went looking for him, and he wasn't there. So I was like, hey, Aaron, can you start the show? So I wasn't here at this time. I had gone home to have a shower because I live close by, and because we was working nonstop the whole day. So I told our board operator, Morgan, just to start the show. I was like, get it going. So Aaron started, and Aaron was awesome.
Yes.
And then we have...
I've been working with him this season.
Oh, yeah? What have you been... Oh,
with the carolers.
Oh, yeah. You know what's funny? He does a lot of stuff with gay men's choir club. Forte, yeah. And they've done a few of the national anthems for the Leafs and the Raptors games.
Yeah.
But one time I was on the floor at the Raptors, and he was walking back from doing the anthems, and we both saw each other. Like, hey, yeah. And
nice.
It's like out of context, kind of, you're used to seeing somebody in a venue. Like I used to see him at music venues, but I was like, hey, what's up, man?
Yeah.
Nice to see you. And then another time, his choir did a couple songs with Demi Lovato. Is that how you say her name? Demi
Lovato?
Demi Lovato, yeah. So he was part of like a couple songs with her live at the ACC. And I remember him saying that. And I think I worked one of that show. Yeah. So next we have our friend. We were just talking about Mr. Random Acts of Violence.
That's a nice photo.
I don't know his name, actually.
Shout out to Josh Gillis.
Yeah, Josh was our photographer for the whole festival. Shout out to Josh. We met Josh in Peterborough.
Yeah. Way
back, the beginning of 2023. I met him in Peterborough, and he's just been an enthusiastic part of our
We met him at the Red Dog, right? That was the Red Dog with the...
No, I met him before that because I did 2 gigs in Peterborough. I did one at the beginning of the month and the end of the month. Mm-hmm. So I did one with... No, what was it? Yes, because I did the one... I don't remember how it was. Maybe I did the first one with you guys at Red Dog and then the other one at Urban at the end of the month. But I remember doing 2 in Peterborough.
Yeah, in the same month.
Yeah,
I think it was Urban second.
Yeah, he came to the second one too. But maybe we did meet him at there.
I think we met him. I remember meeting him at the Red Dog.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe he just showed up.
And that was January 10th, I think.
Yeah, and then I played at the end of the month. Yeah, and he came out for that too. Anyway, so Josh took this photo. He's taking all these photos. So this gentleman here is a regular player around the beaches area. Actually, when the whole story about this playing here is crazy because I lived up the street, and in 2020 when there was nowhere to play, like everything was closed, there was this gazebo, and I found there was electricity there. So there was power outlets, and that's what kind of, sparked my idea to build this festival, right?
Yeah.
And 4 years later, we did it.
We did it.
But I saw this guy there 4 years ago when I was playing there, and actually jammed with him. And then when I got this festival, I was walking on the street and saw him, and I said, hey, I'm doing this festival August 3rd. Do you want to be involved? And he's like, oh, yeah, thanks, for sure. I said, remember the day, we'll be there. And then we get there, we all do our sound check, and I can't find the guy. He hasn't showed up. And so I go home, like I said, to have a shower. And then on my way back from having a shower, I see him on the corner. And my mom's driving, and I was like, stop. I just jumped out of the car there. And I went up to him, and I was like, hey, how's it going? He's like, not bad. Good day. And I was like, nice. Yeah. I go, remember that festival we were talking about? And he's like, yeah. I go, you still want to play? And he goes, yeah. I go, we're doing it now. And he goes, really? He goes, I went by and I saw something, and He thought it was something different.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, he goes, when are you playing? I'm like, now. I was like, get your shit, let's go. So I crossed the street with him, and Aaron finished up, and then he played. So he did a 15-minute set, right? And he was awesome. He was so nice and genuine and sweet. And everybody, there's a few people in the audience that recognized him, because he's just a neighborhood. And he kind of, summed up the essence of the community, what we were talking about,
Yeah.
And then we're going to go to our good friend we were talking about, who played with us, Mr. Marquez Walker.
Yeah. Dope. Yeah, it was a tight set. Quartet. Marcus Walker Quartet. That saxophone player ended up jamming with Wayne on the later set.
On our second set? No, that was Steve. Steve is trumpet player.
Trumpet player.
So the funny thing, let me see, I have a picture. Let me talk. Steve is oh no, he's not in the frame. But Steve's the trumpet player. He played on Educate and Sunglass Half Full.
Oh, right on.
And I got him on three other. I got him recorded downstairs on a few tracks for this next album. But while we were sound checking for this festival this day, Steve walked by the gazebo, and he's like, "Focused?" And I was like, "Steve?" And he was like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "Running a festival." He goes, "I live here." And I said, "What are you doing later?" And he goes, "Nothing." I said, "Do you have your trumpet? You want to bring it?" And he goes, "Yeah." So that's why he joined us the second set. And it just he blended right in. It was perfect. But no, that's Marcus's buddy. I don't know his name. But so we went from Aaron, who was a solo piano player, singer, to Random Acts of Violence. So we went from solo to solo, and then this was the first band.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys got everybody rocking, man. Everybody started, congregating and checking us out and see what was going down, and realizing, whoa, this is a fucking lineup, man.
That's where the set gained momentum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you want to add? I've been talking so much.
Let's keep looking at these photos.
Yeah, you do a little commentary. Yeah. Let me go. So who was next? We were next. Our set was next. So I'm gonna get this one of you. This is our set, I believe. But this is yourself here. That was our first set.
Yeah. There's Wayne on the flute.
Flouting. But it sounded great in there, right? It was
yeah.
It was nice.
It was fun to play.
Mm-hmm.
With how it was set up. Everybody could hear each other really well.
Mm-hmm. It was mic'd well too, and it was
tight.
Mm-hmm.
All the practicing that we do.
All the no practicing.
Yeah.
Actually, what we probably ended up doing 15 shows almost, and that was a lot of practice.
Yeah.
Each show is 2 long sets, so that's good fucking practice each time, man. And to do it in some cool places, and
this was a cool place, especially.
Mm-hmm.
And it was cool seeing the park breathe, where when there wasn't any music, people would scatter, or when there was music, people would just kind of walk by and inhabit the space.
It's pro. It was The one thing I heard the most was like, I didn't hear this. I hear about this. Where did this come from? And it's like, we didn't have any advertising.
Yeah.
We were like strictly solo, strictly independent, strictly non-funded, just music that's driving it. The love for music. And basically like the love that I had to keep it alive through the time it was dead for me and for everybody else,
Yeah.
Like it was such a great moment, us playing on the stage there, when I was like, wow, this actually happened out of 4 years of just like, this was the last salvation.
Yeah.
Playing here 4 years ago.
And how it was curated as well. Bad Meat Band had 2 sets with breaks in between, like acts.
That was Ryan.
I think the organ trio.
You put a triple dip that day, man. You and Ilya.
Yeah.
You guys triple dipped that one. You guys were the workhorses
Yeah.
of the day, and hauling gear and fucking. And shout out to you, man, and everybody fucking beyond busted their ass. Like, folks, you have no idea how much these musicians put into this. It's like they did the acts, they showed up on time, they did sound checks, everybody did work together, everybody enjoyed each other's sets. Like, it was like the epitome of community music and how you're supposed to like support each other, and it was fucking magic. It was like everybody enjoyed themselves. Bands that didn't have to play late till later in the night got to have a few beverages, just chill. It was just like everybody put their all in, everybody busted their asses. It was like, without you and helping everybody helping, it would have happened. So it was like, cheers to you and everybody. And so it was a great day, and it was hot as balls. Holy shit. It was so hot. It was so fucking... It
wasn't that hot inside the gazebo.
No, it's true. Once we got in, it was kind of like you're in it. You're in it. And it's just like a mindset after that,
Yeah.
It was kind of like, oh, okay. It's hot. All right.
Ain't nothing you can do about it.
Nothing you can do about it. What do you want to change?
Welcome
Not being
to
hot? It was like this time I went to Germany with my buddy. And he's not my friend anymore, but because that trip ended it. We went to Germany together, and it was the hottest week in German history ever. Like, and they'd have no air conditioning there. It's no air conditioning in the whole goddamn country. So you just have to deal with it for a week. And so let's look at number 11. This is
no air conditioning in the whole damn country.
The whole goddamn country. Just deal with it. This is your boy Timmy.
Oh yeah,
Timiroquai.
I just made that
Timiroquai. We got a nickname for you, Tim. Sorry, buddy. Virtual insanity.
No, that's more the Canned Heat.
Yeah, that's Canned Heat.
You'd wear that hat in Canned Heat.
Because Canned Heat is all about the drums.
2000,
yeah.
1999, 2000.
Get me on my heels tonight. Bro, I never felt more like a fucking hippie artist than that day. Like barefoot, organic.
Barefoot in the kitchen.
In the kitchen, be in the community, being the music.
We were making it hot outside.
We were.
Yeah.
And you're right, like people could have just kept going on, but it was the first time people were just sticking around and like, what's going on? What's this? And we had a couple Karens, but it was all it was nice to be like flex and be like, we got the documents and the paperwork.
Yeah.
One lady came by and said, "You can't park here." It's like, yeah, I can. I'm gonna go get the tow truck. I was like, well, they're gonna have a tough time coming in because I got the keys to the gate to get in. So this was our first set here of the day. And sorry, that's what I meant to say. Is my buddy Ryan? It was his idea for Badme to have the 2 sets because I went out for beers with him. And he's like, "It's your goddamn festival." He's like, "You guys should have 2 sets." I was like, "Yeah, you're right. I'll have an afternoon one for the kids, start them with Piece of Paradise."
Yeah.
And then, ease them down with another set. It was great. I was so happy the way we spaced it out. I could do a fucking show like that once a month,
Yeah, same. It was, we had E.M. Lord.
Yeah,
and his cohort Ray.
They were phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like EM continues to amaze me. Our buddy Earl.
Yeah.
Monero. EM Lord. And I met this fine gentleman 4 years ago at the Painted Lady, and Nelson hooked us up. Nelson Sabral, our boy.
Yeah.
And
man.
He's like, "Oh, these guys are gonna get along," and we started doing these streaming things at the Painted Lady, and he was one of the artists we featured. And I didn't even know it was like his birthday that day or a couple days apart from it, and he was so grateful, and he was like so happy that we did it. And then we just kept in touch, and him and I have kind of grown off each other, learning from each other. And I just like the way he carries himself. And the reason why, like I've always had community, but I didn't realize it, and he was a big reason for me to get interested in community again, just the way what he does. And shout out to him. And he had like this poetry thing he had going the last year and a half, where he's like encouraging young poets to bring out the best in themselves. And but a great MC. Look for more of him. He got his song put in a TV show.
Oh, right on.
So he got a good little deal, good payout. And he's just like doing his own thing. He's only 32. And this, as much as he's done at 30, it's like far surpassed what I did at 30,
Yeah.
And he's on his own trajectory, and he's just going to keep excelling and excelling. And he had a great performance that day. He had fun, and it looked like everybody had a good, relaxing day. And everybody, the thing that I was most happy about the whole day is that everybody could be themselves as the artists they are. And that was the main intention. And like, that's the main intention of the gazebo. And also to maximize the capability of it. And that's what I had the dream of, like, oh, there's power here. We can rock the shit out of this shit.
Yeah.
And no. Let's just not do it where we might get busted, guerrilla style. Let's do this legit with the city and the noise permit.
Yeah, decibel meter.
All the fucking everything, the 9 yards, So I was so happy for Earl. Shout out to Earl. Anything you want to add about Earl?
His was a nice set. Tight rhymes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's lots coming from him.
Groovy.
And if there's anybody that might be a feature on the album, we'll see.
Oh, right on.
Possibly. And then we had yourself after the EM. You had a whole extra set with the trio.
Yeah.
With your boys, Ilya
and Mark.
There's no wide shot where there's the three of you guys in there. This is the one.
I'm sure there are some individual shots of.
Yeah, I just didn't load them all. But Ilya and Mark, you guys had a great fucking.
Yeah, it was tight.
Axis of evil there going. It was fucking awesome.
Axis of good.
And you got me out of my. It was funny because.
Oh yeah, we performed Love Bombs.
Yeah, but
which is the official title.
The official title. It was the official release of that track from Level Up.
Can this camera zoom in to the back?
But what you can do is you can go. Oh yeah.
Oh, actually, you could just probably throw it on that camera there. You just see what kind of. Yeah, oh, look at that. We got a little blend here. Yeah, see? 10 people worked on this album. Which one did it? Yeah, Love Bombs. With the...
Focus and Dr.Keys. It was great, man. And so you kind of caught... Like... I remember that I was doing it with you, but at the same time, like I said, it was such a fucking busy day that it got away from me, right? And, I had people that had come to see me, so I was kind of with them. And then you called me up, and I was like, oh, yeah, we're doing this. Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Yeah.
And then I came up with a friend of mine. And we did it. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. So we kind of got me out of the comfort zone to do it. You guys were awesome, man. That was great. What was the best, the most fun part of your set?
The whole day. I look at that festival as like what happened all day because.
The whole day, exactly, 100%.
Yeah, we were up and at 'em since like 7 a.m.
And it was everybody enjoying everybody,
enjoying
everybody's. Even like at the end, it was so nice, like
chill.
Just
most chill.
Yeah,
one of the most chill experiences.
I'm glad you guys were a part of it. We're gonna do another one. You're gonna fucking
nice.
Getting the funding from Toronto Arts Council, hopefully. Week.
Community focused.
Yeah. I was high as fuck like a year ago, out on the front porch here, the front veranda here, and I was like, It's like something music, something. I was trying to think of a name of this entity, like what was it gonna be? Music community, da 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 da. And then I pitched it to Ken, the coffee shop guy. And I was like, what about, he's like, you shouldn't say music, He's like, just keep it community. And I was like, focus, community focus. Oh yeah, get it down. So everybody told, they were like, yeah, that's a cool idea. Yeah, so we went with it, man. And then that was you guys crushed it, man. You guys were unbelievable, man. And then we got our good friends. They basically finished it off. Was Fifth Project. These guys are the best. Tara and Scott. These guys are unbelievable talent. So they just like blew the roof off too. And it was kind of a cool moment when they started.
And it was also golden hour when they played.
Just nailed it. Like, look at the background. Their footage is probably the best footage that we have of the day because it is golden hour. And it really dawned on me when I was watching them play that, oh shit, we're doing this. Like this is like... I like they're no nonsense too. They get right into it. They don't talk. They don't do a lot of banter. She doesn't do a lot of banter, she's just like, oh, what a nice day. And they go right into it. And I was like, yes. She's like, so right, you know? And actually, Tara and Scott were here for episode 33. And we went down some rabbit holes. And I was like, whoa, guys, maybe we can compartmentalize this. They're on our wavelength, definitely. But we met Tara and these guys at the Horseshoe a couple of years ago. And we were thrown into kind of like a showcase night. And they blew us away. And we, likewise, we were both interested in each other's performance. And, we kind of formed a bond, and we did a show with them at Lee's Palace, which was awesome.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah, and then they joined us on this show. So very fortunate for these guys to be part of our, our community and growth. And these guys were awesome. They were great cheerleaders. And actually, shout out to Scott. He climbed like a spider monkey and got the banner hung up. I don't know if there's a shot with Scott in here, but yeah, he's behind Tara's head there, kind of.
Yeah, acrobatics.
There's their bass player, but yeah, he kind of scaled up that green pole and got that sign up properly. So shout out to Fifth Project for their banner.
Yeah. Banner climbing setup.
I missed a good joke there. Their banner performance or something. yeah. But they were awesome. And that was actually the one, because my good buddy Stacy Nordover, who's probably one of the best camera guys in Canada, he was doing a lot of a handheld video camera for us that day. And he was just helping us out. And he had to leave, though. So he left after EM's set. He actually stayed to do EM's set. He was past while he was going to stay. But he stayed to... but he had to leave for this one. But I wasn't performing here, so I picked up the camera and started doing some video work for these guys. And I just kind of got zoned in. And I was just like... It's just being a shooter.
Yeah. Shooter. Yeah, so wonderful occurrence of events and moments, and then all day.
We have the last one, which was our last set, the second set with the boys, and not in frame, but to the left is Wayne and Steve. And Steve's the trumpet player. We had a full fucking band. We had a fucking horn section. It was awesome. And we were really revving it. And for maybe, I don't know how many times, maybe I can count maybe twice, maybe twice, that we've gotten an encore. Twice or three times. And that was one of them. And then I said... Well, you asked for it. Let's give it to them. Yeah. We gave them Red Sky, which is a pretty heavy song. And people loved it. They were pretty happy, I think. We could have went all night, I think, if we wanted to.
No, we could have only gone until 11.
I had the permit.
Yeah.
I had the permit. But I wanted to kind of be respectful for the community.
Yeah, I think we ended up finishing at 10:30 or something.
Yeah, it was very close. It was close.
10:35.
Yeah, it was pretty close. And yeah, it was great. It was such a wonderful day. It was such a wonderful moment. It was such a great achievement of resilience of fuck you, this music is not going anywhere. And the freedom of expression and the type of music and the style of music, and let the artist just dictate community, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was great. And just to see people's faces, we didn't have a lot of people, but consistently through the day, I think there was a good volume like the one thing that there's a lot of things that we can improve on. The one thing that I really wanted for next time is like a printed schedule, like a full bulletin thing that has a big poster with all of our names on it and like the times. We had the banner, but it didn't have really like a schedule. Like what I wanted is like next time is like more of a schedule. Like don't go anywhere. This is a whole day thing, you know?
I'd estimate that 250 to 350 people heard the music.
I think so.
Yeah.
No, it was good. So what's your take from that? Like what seeing
in terms of how a festival is run?
Yeah, but what's your take on what you like? You know what I mean? Like what do you want to see from festivals and stuff like that? Like if you were to run one and do one too, and the ones that you would like to apply for, like what's your idea of that? You know, like
I don't readily think about applying to festivals.
Well, that's part of the question. Sorry, is like because to me. That's the reason I did this one, because I tried out for every festival and I got no. And the only one that I got through was the one I went with you. And it was almost like I was injected, into it. And we had many discussions about why and who and reasons why we don't do festivals and stuff like that. But so for me, I created this, and then I didn't create this, but I birthed this idea of it, and then through help with you and other people, we created this, So we expanded it. So that being said, and you don't apply for festivals, like what's your, like you have your own platform too, like you work with other types of groups that are doing their own type of things and their own type of festivals too, and stuff like that. And
yeah, like it depends on the capacity. Like historically, as a working musician, for me, after I finished university, was just gigs and students, and it just keeps on going, and there's sometimes more fruitful periods and other times where it's not so busy. It's just the whole thing is just to keep striving, keep grinding, and do that. I've always considered myself to be a more on the ground kind of guy. Here I am, jazzy like an overcast. Just get in, do some of the more like not dissimilar to the Emmett Ray, as far as my take on things and things to come. 2025, it would be a year where I'll begin to be more consistent with finding gigs and building a teaching schedule, and just, expressing myself through those mediums.
I think it's what we've been talking about this whole time, is like there's going to be so many lanes for each of us creators that have been doing it for so long with music. I think next year is going to be the year, and it's just going to catapult into it the way, comedians have benefited from this type of technology and even playing field,
Mm-hmm.
And, just interacting with so many amazing creative minds in Canada, and through, just us interacting with people with free media and type of things like that, there's something on the bubble here in Canada that's gonna fucking blow. And it's like we're on the cusp of it. And I shout out to like Rumble too. And I want to put all my podcasts on Rumble too. And it's like, I think there's something there too. And it's like, the more that we push for Canadian content, the more that it's going to be something that's part of Canadian standard broadcasting. When everything gets rejigged and, the CRTC gets updated, hopefully there's something that's like for the people that is already a running machine.
Yeah.
And the government's gonna have to be like, oh, can just show us how it's done, But I hope it's not like, this is something that's going good and we're gonna fuck it up, like,
yeah.
But I'm optimistic in a certain way that, how the technology and podcasting has kind of changed news and media in the US. It might change the way here in Canada too.
Yeah.
I might be just drunk off wine. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
I mean, there are a lot of things going on. There's certainly a lot of things going on right now in Canada that we're on the cusp of moving in wildly varying directions at any given moment.
It's unexplainable because it's hard to correlate with any other country because we're all high as fuck and it's all legal. Yeah. Everybody that's in every sector in Canada, whether it's engineering or, fucking spying on other people or whatever it is, we're all high as fuck. The whole country's high as fuck. We're all so high. There's so much weed here. It's insane. The whole country's high as fuck. There's a lot of room and we're high as hell. So something's got to give. Like, really, something's really going to fucking give out of this. You're going to suppress media and we're all high and baked as fuck, Like, we were talking about this earlier. Everybody that does a podcast owes fucking a bow to Tom Green, Like, Tom Green started this shit and, it's another thing that Canadians started, man. We're bored. It's cold. There's nothing to do all winter. That's how it goes. And so now you legalize weed. It's like, boom, like a fucking renaissance in a goddamn country that's going like, we're very far behind tech-wise, but creativity-wise, we're far beyond most countries. And we always have been, and we still are. And talent-wise, too.
Yeah.
And, we're absorbing that, too. It's like, a lot of people are stupid that are bitching about too many Indian people coming in. But it's like, well, your parents or grandfathers were certain immigrants, too, that were an influx that's going to change the country in a certain way.
Yeah. Whether they can adapt,
but the one thing
choose to adapt is up to them.
But the one thing that is throwing off a lot of people, I think, is that the amount of people that have come in the last 4 years. That's the difference, right?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
But probably the same thing could have been said in the 1940s too, or whatever too. So, anyways, what I'm saying is that there's going to be a giant flip technology-wise in this country. The way that media is, portrayed, the way that you're going to see content, the way you're going to see business, the whole postal strike is going to change too with technology. Like, you're going to see some big changes here in Canada. And it's interesting because we're the only country in the world, really. Well, there's Holland that's legalized, but we're so close to a country that opposes it so much,
Yeah.
that is so has such a stronghold on that. And I feel like we're unique. We're very unique in a certain way going into 2025, Canada.
Yeah.
We have a lot of potential, like to go the right way, whatever the fuck you want to call right way, but like some sort of independence in a way of like, you know, let's create our own future, you know?
Yeah. Move forward.
Move forward. I want to go through, if you remind me, I'll go through my July. I don't have any content for it, but in July I had a good little tour, real short. I went Ottawa. There's a little documentary if you want to check it out on my YouTube. Ottawa. The first day I went to Ottawa was the flood. That flood day.
Right.
So I met a comic who was also delayed, who was going to Ottawa for a comedy show. Really pretty big comic from Houston. And so we had an interesting kind of story together. And then we got there, did that show, went to Montreal. Oh no, so that same night, Sule got his computer stolen out of the fucking Ottawa, and so many people have their shit stolen in Ottawa. It's crazy. And
man, Ottawa's so crazy.
It's fucked up. It's so fucking crazy. How many people you know have had shit stolen in Ottawa? Because I had at least 4 artists I know.
None that I mean, I've heard of a few artists who had their stuff stolen in Ottawa, and Montreal too.
Montreal and Ottawa's bad. Yeah. Anyway, so we left Ottawa. I went to Montreal. Played in Montreal. One show. We went up to Tremblant for the weekend. He played a gig at the Sule played a gig at the hotel, and I did some B-roll footage for him. And the next day he took me to St. Jerome, which was like a little suburb north of Laval. And so we did a little pub there, and some crazy people outside of Montreal, real hardcore fans. And then we did a show. I did another show in Montreal, and then I flew to Halifax. I did a show in New Glasgow, where my stepmom's from. So my stepmom was there with my dad and my sister, and I had like a whole cheering section. It was awesome. It was like hometown gig. And then I flew out to New Hampshire, and I finally got back to the States after 4 years. That was a huge. So the big accomplishments I had this year was obviously, with the band, us doing stuff, and then the festival, and then getting back to the States for another gig was a huge thing. So now, yeah, ching ching ching, and then so I've been on the grind for the last 2 months, and this is what I learned over years and years. Is like before I was saying, start booking gigs in January, but then you're already far behind. Yeah. So I started getting out there in October and November for next summer. Yeah. So I got a few callbacks for like Hartford and like Connecticut and around that area. And so I think July next year I'm going to take a trip down, go through Montreal, down Vermont, all that way down there. Yeah. Take a run down
Hartford,
with me
Connecticut.
If you want. Connecticut.
I gotta get my passport sorted.
Oh, that thing.
I'm gonna get that done by the end of the year.
America.
I just haven't had any days off for a couple of weeks, and I won't have any days off for another couple of weeks.
Well, you won't get it in the mail.
I won't get it in the mail, but they have gone back to work at the time of this broadcast.
Well, good for you.
Today
and the
is
Carolines.
Tuesday.
We'll be putting it out Monday, which will be the 23rd. Right before Christmas.
Monday 23rd.
Yeah.
By the time Monday 23rd rolls around, the time of release, the Canada Post workers will have gone back to work.
You're hearing this, folks. You're hearing this from this man right here. He's predicting this shit. I don't doubt you. I don't doubt you at all, man.
Yeah.
Can you do a little, self promotion? I'm gonna go check on my slow cooker for a second. We've been going for a while.
And if you don't mind getting some water.
Yes. Would you like? I'll fill
Yeah,
that
sure.
up.
Thank you.
Coffee flavored water.
Coffee, yeah. With a little bit of extra butter. It's T1AO Dr. Keys. I don't have the switcher close by, so I'll just talk about it. You can find it on Bandcamp, YouTube, Rumble, Odyssey, Spotify, SoundCloud, and compact disc. Get in touch with sounddecisions.ca@gmail.com and get some free music as well. I'm always creating and drinking water.
And drinking coffee water.
Yeah.
I think we have a new product here, coffee water.
Yeah. I got a new filtration system.
Explain.
Santevia. It's mineralized alkaline. Yeah,
So you zap the water?
it's not zapped. It just runs through a filter with all sorts of minerals in it, and it tastes great.
You know what my dad had when we grew up was the reverse osmosis
Yeah,
system in the basement for our water, our drinking water.
yeah.
You know, we're so dumb here with that shit in North America. And it's like there's so many variations of types of drinking water.
Yeah.
And it's almost like...
It all comes down to the treatment plants.
Yeah.
And how much they're ordered to treat.
I got something. I got a nugget for you. So
I'm listening.
The water treatment plant down the street here.
Yeah.
The one... the beaches. Guess what movie? Oh, there's a lot of movies that it's in. There's X-Men and all that stuff.
Is it in it's not in The Fugitive.
No, maybe, I don't know. I gotta look at The Fugitive again. But Half Baked.
Okay.
The prison scene. All the prison scenes are there.
Huh.
So when they go to visit their buddy for the first time, you know, he's thrown in jail after he kills the diabetic horse.
Which movie is this again?
Half Baked.
Half Baked, right. We're double baked.
Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
The one he did where he's him and his buddies, his friend goes for a munchie run, and he comes outside of the Pizza across the street from Sam the Record Man, and he feeds a horse, and the horse is diabetic and dies on the spot.
Oh man.
So he ends up going to jail for being a cop killer because it's a cop horse.
Oh man.
And so he's in jail, and his buddies have to bail him out, and they sell weed to bail him out. So that's the whole premise of the movie Half Baked. Anyways, there's a scene where they go visit him, and they walk outside the jail, and that's the water treatment plant there.
Mm-hmm.
So I double taked it, and I was like, oh shit, that's down the street there, man. They're fucking... And then also, A Christmas Story was all shot in Toronto here.
Half
You're
was
right.
shot in Toronto.
half.
And the other half was shot in Cleveland.
You're right.
Yeah.
Where it was based.
Yeah.
And
one of my favorite Christmas movies.
Because you watch TTC streetcars go by.
Yeah, and like
Christmas tree scenes.
There's certain subdivisions.
Mm.
I think the mall was
here. I think there was a lot of East End.
Yeah,
I want to say it was in Parkdale. There was some Parkdale, and there was some like in
here,
Leslieville here around.
Right. Yeah, Leslieville.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see that old scene.
I saw that at the Fox Theater on Sunday. I had a bunch of mushrooms and some edibles and fucking
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Man, I was just thinking about other Merry Christmas sayings. Is one of my favorites is Merry Christmas. So it's like either some years back I was thinking about like how Christmas was gonna go. And there's like two kinds of Christmases, like two directions where it could go, where it's like, a nice Christmas where it's like Merry Christmas, kiss my ass, and like a really crappy Christmas, Merry Christmas, shitters full.
Yeah. Either way.
Yeah. And
you're dealing
also,
with crap.
Yeah. And also hallelujah, holy shit.
Oh, that's part of his whole rant.
Yeah.
Hallelujah, holy shit. That's my mom's favorite part in the whole movie. His fucking rant, because she's like, I feel like that all the time. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Holy fuck. My favorite is like when he gets the bonus.
Yeah.
And he's like, fruit of the month. And then Dennis Quaid jumps in and he goes, well, Clark, that's the gift that keeps on giving. There's so many nuggets in that movie. It's so good. Can I do anything for you? Fill your eggnog, drag you out and kill you. Drag you out to the bush, kill you.
Yeah.
That's me and my mom's movie. Christmas, every Christmas we watch that, and we watch the Trailer Park Boys, their first episode.
Yeah.
The Trailer Park Boys is their Christmas episode.
Oh, okay.
It's where J-Rock becomes J-Rock.
Yeah. And
Bubbles, it's a deep episode, man. Speaking of deep episode, we're 2 hours in.
Hallelujah, holy shit.
Hallelujah. I knew it was going to be.
It's 9:11 p.m.
9/11, dude. Never forget. So I went in Seattle. I went with Paul. We went to a 9/11 memorial on Bremner Island, which is like the island where all the aircraft carriers are held for the whole Pacific Fleet of the naval army of the U.S. of A. And where we shot most of Stay Focused, that video. And yeah, it was an interesting place to be. It was a lot of weed stores.
Yeah. Seattle, Washington.
Holy shit, man. That was crazy. So what
you know what else is a good Christmas movie?
Yeah, let's keep going. I like
is The Ref. Dennis.
Yes! I was trying to watch it the other day and I couldn't rip it. I was like, sorry, I'm not paying for anything. And I couldn't find it. It was hard for me to get. But that's a good one because that's like test of the nerves. Everybody can relate to that.
Yeah.
Like, if I kill this person. That's like, not only, it's because it's a hostage movie, but aside from the theme of being like a hostage movie, it's all the irritable shit that you go through with family at the holidays, right? So it's just like You already had the intention of killing somebody. It's just to say everybody can relate to it now, you know. No, I fucking indulged like so much this holidays of like all, like I said, the animated ones, the stop motion ones, the classics from the 80s, you know. There's just so Are you ready for a conspiracy thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Not
Is it about Christmas?
all the diehards.
Is it about Jesus is the time of year where he was born? 'Cause that's some.
Well, okay, I can go through that quickly.
That's some stuff.
That's some stuff. So to me that is, okay, here we go. To me, Christmas is that's a whole fucking enchilada. The word, what it means, and all that stuff, and it's really just like, in a nutshell, to me, it is like your own type of restart, individual restart, and whatever interpretation you want to put it into, it's all good. And I'm not judging anybody on anything, and it's just like, to me, that's what it is. So it's like nature. If you're in tune with nature, that's the shortest day of the year, is December 25th. And December, naturally, I feel this the more older I get, is like December, you just want to wind down. You're winding down the year, and then it's just like December 25th is the shortest day of the year, and then after that, you're just like coming back out of that, and you're being reborn. You know what I mean? And it's almost like you're being born, and it's like the sun's being born again, and it's the sun is getting gradually longer and longer each day, which is connected to life, and everything in life, everything revolves around the sun. So it's, whether it's intertwined in theology or religion or belief, any type of variation that you want to put it into, it all comes down to the rejuvenation of the sun and longer days, and how it affects you, I think. And I think Christmas is a special time because it's like, it's that type of resurrection and that type of like rebirth. And then also, it might be the lowest time for a lot of people with depression and just the regular angst of winter, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it was also used as a way to get out of dark ages, you know what I mean? Of like a way to snap people out of like, you know, this depression of winter. And you know what, Christmas kind of got me thinking about this thing I studied called two sleeps. And two sleeps is basically like a way that people back in the day used to break up the winter depression.
Yeah, there were I read somewhere,
and it's very creative too.
I read somewhere that there's
where coffee shops originated from. And sorry. You go ahead.
I read somewhere there was like, they didn't, like January, February, they didn't call them January and February. They just called them like the darkness in some cultures, where it's just they weren't like, it was just cold and dark.
Because the morning's so dark too.
Yeah. So they didn't really like start the year until March or April.
You
based
hibernated.
on the zodiac signs, and and there's also like New Year's every month, right? So there's never like, I guess in modern times, officially New Year's begins in January.
Well, you think of 12 months, 12 hours, 12. The calendar was almost a construction of work and manufacturing.
And the names of the months,
yeah,
too, right? Like September,
they're all
is like the number 7.
Well, there are a lot of them. Well, the days of the week are planets. They're all planets, and then I'm talking like an idiot now. the months are different, like type of cosmology.
Yeah.
But anyways, what were you saying?
So we were also talking about Christmas, right?
Yes.
And we're also talking about like conspiracies. You know, we're talking about months, different years, different New Year's. Yeah. Lousy Smarch weather. Yeah. September is number 7. October is number 8. Yeah. November is number 9. December is number 10. Yeah. Right. So like, what is when they're talking about like the birth of Jesus? There's in Jeremiah in the Holy Bible, talks about the 6th month, and people are saying it's June when it really should be August, right? So that's where like the birth, that's where the actual date of birth comes into question.
If you think about it, if you don't think about it, or if you do think about it, it comes down to a few comedy bits. Like one of my favorite ones at Louis C.K. He was like, I don't really teach my kids any religion, but he's like, I want to educate them on it. And it's like, all I want to tell them is that the Christians won. And everybody's like kind of quiet. And he goes, well, if the Christians won, tell me what year it is. Yeah. He's like, 2017. After what? And this guy screams out, Christ! He's like, yeah, Christ! He's like, so before 0 there was no time? He's like what if you were 35 at the year 0? And he's like, you're year 0. You're 0 years old. He's like, no, but I'm minus 35 years old. Like, yeah, it's a time scale that it only works into one mindset, you know what I mean? Right? It's a beautiful comedy bit, but it's so true, right? It's so relevant. And he's like, don't worry, the Jews are taking they're keeping track in the background. It's actually 4,500 and whatever, you know. But and then remember the
was it 3761?
It's something ridiculous.
Yeah, 3761.
So you know what? Where they came up with because it's supposed to be 360 degrees. That's where you come up with 365 days, right? Yeah. So they added 5 days because it was like the way of balancing this mathematics, right? Yeah. And then so that's where we get our holidays from. Those extra 5 days that they added. Mm-hmm. So it all goes back to like the way that we're calculating time is almost a way of calculating labor and charging for metering everything, And that's a struggle, I think, where we're at now with free energy, and there's like a cusp of free energy, but we're still in this matrix of metering everything, you know? And so you want to hear the Die Hard conspiracy theory? Okay, so Die Hard, the 3 movies together are 9/11. Okay. So the first movie is the idea of hijacking and like terrorizing a building, blowing up a building. Second one is the airports. And if you think about it, The first movie's in L.A. The second movie's in Washington. That's where the two planes came from.
Right.
To go hit the buildings. So the second airport is Washington, where the
Pentagon.
plane went into the Pentagon. And so that doesn't really make a lot of like, I'm not like, it's not really eye-opening for those two, but when you put the third one together with it, it all kind of just works together. So the third one is the most important one because it's in New York. And then what happens is, you know the premise of it, right? Where the beginning, there's a bomb that goes off, and then they call John McClane, who is like retired, and he's like, I need John McClane, like the German guy, terrorist. And so there's another thing with the Germans. So the Nazis actually reallocated to Saudi Arabia and trained basically Al-Qaeda to become the terrorists. So Germany, there's a long tie with Germany and Saudi Arabia and the terrorism and 9/11, all that stuff. So whatever. So the third movie was what put it all together. So the second time they're going out on this goose chase to get a bomb, you know, they pick up the phone and he says, it's 9:50 now, and then if you don't get to the next one, a bomb's going off at 10:20. Those are the two times that the explosions came in the towers, like explosions, you know? And then 10 minutes later, they both collapsed. So those are the two times that coincide with it. So he gets on a subway that has a bomb that's going to Wall Street Station that's right under the World Trade Centers. So then there's another shot of like a cutaway shot of the World Trade Centers. It's where it's ending up, you know? And then you see there's a clock right before the train comes in, and it says 9/11. And then it cuts to Sam Jackson on the phone. And then the bomb goes off. And then what happens is like everybody's gone for 3 days, for a while, downtown. And that's what happened when the towers collapsed, right? Everybody vacated. What happened the day before in the Pentagon on September 10th?
There was a default.
$2 trillion went missing. So what was at the bottom of the World Trade Center? $2 trillion worth of gold.
Yeah.
So in the movie, everybody gets out of there. Remember, they go in with the dump trucks and they take all the gold out and they leave. So that gold is the money that paid for all the war in Iraq and Afghanistan for the last 20 years. So that gold is all the Nazi gold from what the Nazis took from World War II. So basically, if you read this book called Nazi Gold, it tells you how all this gold that they were supposed to give back never ended up back to a lot of the European countries. So a lot of the gold that was taken from the Belgium, like the emperors of whatever. I'm fucking so stupid. The emperors, you know, like the royal family of Belgium, like they had the most gold in Europe. So that was never returned. And it all ended up in to save all the gold from being taken by the Nazis. It was shipped on ships to the USA and Canada, and it ended up in parts in Canada, and it ended up in Fort Knox. And apparently the conspiracy theory is that Fort Knox is a decoy. So Fort Knox actually has no gold, but all the gold is in Manhattan under the World Trade Centers, right? So when the World Trade Centers went down, all the gold disappeared. And that's the $2 trillion that went missing. And so
like Die Hard.
Yeah, so it's all in the Die Hard movies. And if you look at, there's a sequence in the movie, if you were to cut out all the fat in the movie and you were to put together like a minute piece, it would spell it out right there, right in front of you. And then you can put the first movie, there's parts of the first movie and parts of the second movie that all kind of just, there's some dialogue in there that you're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's like right in front of your face.
Yeah, they predicted it.
Like, so not predicted. I think, well, there's prediction and there's also like insight. Like there's certain insight and there's also like, you have to think you're a creative mind too.
Programming.
Right? Well, you're a creative mind too that you can see where things are going.
That's
like I have a
cowboy hat.
I have a song that said, remember Red Sky?
Yeah.
Red Sky. It says mandated, vaccinated.
Yeah.
I wrote that in 2017.
Yeah.
So it's like
called it from the future.
But you just see it coming in. Like I think there's certain producers and directors that are that in tune that are like, I can see where this is going. But to have that many like fucking nuggets in there, it's like, what the fuck? Yeah. Come on. So my theory is that this is way tinfoil shit.
It's being in tune with the frequency that
it's embedded in us.
Yes. And
it prepped us for 9/11.
It prepped us to know about what's going on behind the scenes. You know, the more
it prepped us to be, in my opinion, like then when I saw 9/11 with my own eyes, on TV. That's the thing. Like we're watching it through TV. It's like
or radio.
We've been conditioned for 20 years. As kids watching movies in the 80s and the 90s
our whole
for
lives.
this fucking moment.
Yeah.
Like, and what did you say? Like, this is what I said with my buddy, because the only thing that we could do that day was go to the bar and get fucking hammered.
I couldn't do anything.
We got hammered.
Like so much traffic on
we just
the road.
went to, like, I went downtown actually and, like, consoled this girl that I was with, and then I left, and me and my buddy went to a bar and we just watched news the whole day drinking. Yeah. And we were like, both looked at each other and were like, this is like a movie. Like, we're in a movie. We're like living in a movie. Like, this is exactly
like the Truman Show.
Well, this is exactly what you're saying, like looking at humans, right? Like, this is like, it was one of those days.
Looking at humans and tinfoil cowboy hat.
Yeah, all in one.
I find Level Up was also like it kind of working on that album gave me more perspective as to what I truly feel I ought to be writing about, which is the truth, you know, however we can find it. And both looking at humans and Tinfoil Cowboy Hat EP is chock full of that. It all goes in the same bin. Who are we really working for? Who is everybody really working for? You know, you got news outlets being told what to report and told what not to report, even if the news that's not supposed to be reported on is still, you know, relevant to our society and our place in society. You know, so it's really up to us to have knowledge. We have to know what's going on and find a way to think for ourselves, and, you know, break free of the routine that we've been conditioned to live through. You know, the society of convenience, where you can just, you know, press a button, press a screen on a tablet, and some things happen, and then you give it to a child and then have them look at it for a while. You know, that to me is the dark side of the adaptation to technological advancements. if used as an educational tool, or at least, a supplemental at best, there's nothing wrong with writing something down. I find that works to make things more efficient with respect to getting tasks done and organizing creative thoughts. I wrote a song on the subway today.
Yeah, you were saying Alf. Was it Alf?
Yeah. There must be a song about elves.
Oh, there's got to be a few.
So yeah, it's been having worked in the distillery district, like really treating it as a job where I have shifts and I have commitments and I have to make sure to show up early, because if you show up early, you're on time.
Mm-hmm.
If you show up on time, you're late. If you show up late, stay home.
Yeah, don't even bother.
Yeah, never mind you. We got work to do. Let's do it. Tighten up. Keep tightening up.
Yeah.
I feel so professional, and I feel there's a renaissance. I'm resonating with that, to which you were referring earlier, about the renaissance, artistic and community scene. It's like a scene it's a resurgence. There's a resurgence of a Toronto scene, independent music scene, and artists, music and art, video, photo, community focused.
Well said.
2025.
Well said.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree with you more, man. And it's like we're rocking into 2025, and it's funny because we've been doing this thing for a while, and you see these areas that are thriving now, and I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm so excited for all these certain type of venues that are popping up all over the city, and I'm so proud that we kept our thing alive and keeping it going. And big ups to you, man, for big volumes, pushing it out, keep rocking it and crushing it with me and the Bad Meat Band, and good times for the 2025,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And keep the momentum going.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd also thought about making a remix album. Having the opportunity to record and transmit my thoughts from the paper to the record.
Mm-hmm.
I've made use of looping sound bites, wave files, loops, press play, and then just kind of improvise over that.
Mm-hmm.
And then build from there, like build an entire song from there.
Mm-hmm.
So that'd be cool. It'd be a nice little project, like, a remix project where it's not so focused on getting a take right.
Yeah, it's
so
revisiting
be like
it.
Chill.
Kind of like just the artistic approach at it.
Yeah. After Christmas, I'll have a little bit more time to devote to that.
Cheers to that, brother.
Cheers.
I feel like getting a little wine sloppy here.
A 100 anni.
A 100 anni.
Auguri.
Tanti auguri.
Buon Natale.
Well, from one WAP to another, it was great doing it, buddy.
Yeah, year in review.
I think we got a good episode in here. It's 2.5 hours.
I'll see you next December.
We'll see you, buddy. All right, thanks. Cheers.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, stay focused. Peace. It's Dr. Keys and Focus for year-end review. Oh, we went into that.
Went back to community focused. All right.
Peace.